All right, Knicks fans, we need to talk. Because free agency just threw us a situation that honestly makes my blood boil a little bit. Nick Richards, one of the last decent big men still sitting on the open market, is suddenly the hottest name in the league. And guess who's circling him? The Lakers, the Heat, and yes, our very own New York Knicks. 3 teams, 1 center, and I already have a bad feeling about how this ends. Before we get into it, smash that like button right now, because this front office conversation is going to get spicy, and I want to know your take in the comments the second you finish watching this. So here's the situation. Nick Richards, 28 years old, 7-footer, is out there and signed. And according to multiple league sources, he's ready to sign for the veterans minimum with a legitimate title contender. Read that again. The minimum. That's not a max contract. That's not even a mid-level deal. That's pocket change in today's NBA. And somehow, even at that price, the Knicks are just one name on a list that includes the Lakers and the Heat. Why does that bother me so much? Because this is exactly the kind of low-cost, high-value move that separates smart front offices from the ones that fall asleep every summer. Let's be real about what Richards actually brings. He's not walking and expecting minutes over our stars. This isn't about replacing anybody in the starting 5. This is about depth. This is about having a real rim protector who can rebound, finish above the basket, and give our bigs a breather without the defense completely collapsing. Over 300 career games. He's averaging right around 7 points and almost 6 boards a night. And last season alone, he was still putting up solid rebounding numbers, even in a limited role. That's not flashy, I get it. But championship teams are not built on flash in July. They're built on exactly this type of role player who does his job every single night and doesn't complain about minutes. And that's what makes this Lakers rumor so frustrating to me. The Lakers already added size this offseason. They already brought in another big man. They already have guys who can play the 5, and they're still circling Richards like it's not enough. Meanwhile, our front office is sitting there exploring interest, while a team that's already loaded keeps stacking depth on top of depth. If you're as tired watching other franchises out-hustle us on cheap, smart signings, drop a comment right now and tell me if you think the Knicks front office moves fast enough in this league. Because I have my doubts, and I want to hear yours. Here's the thing that really gets me. The Lakers apparently have a full roster already. All 15 standard spots are taken. So for them to even be in this conversation, they'd have to cut somebody or work out a trade just to make room. That tells you how much they want him. That's a team willing to create a problem just to sign a backup center for minimum money, because they understand depth wins in the playoffs when the games get physical and somebody inevitably goes down with an injury. Do we understand that the same way? I want to believe we do. I need to see it in July, not talk about it in October when it's too late. Now, let's talk about the Heat for a second, because of course Miami is in on this too. Pat Riley's front office has built a whole identity around finding value nobody else sees, grabbing guys for nothing and turning them into playoff weapons. If the Heat get Richards on a minimum deal, you already know exactly what happens. He becomes a hustle and energy guy who somehow ends up being a problem for opposing teams in a playoff series in April. That's just how Miami operates. So now you've got 2 of the smartest, most aggressive front offices in the league, both hunting the same cheap big man, and we're supposedly in that same conversation. I want us to actually win this one. I don't want us to be the 3rd name mentioned in an article that ends with somebody else signing him. Let's not forget where Richards came from either. 42nd pick in the 2020 draft. Spent years grinding it out in Charlotte before bouncing to Phoenix and then Chicago. This is a guy who's had to fight for every single opportunity in this league. Nothing was ever handed to him. Those are exactly the type of players who show up hungry in a new city, especially if that city is finally giving him a real shot at a championship. Imagine him coming to the Garden, playing meaningful minutes off the bench, protecting the rim behind our starters, and finishing lobs on the other end. That's not a bad fit at all. That's a smart, low-risk depth piece. And honestly, at the veterans minimum, there's basically zero reason for us not to be aggressive here. But that's the frustrating part, isn't it? It's never really about whether the fit makes sense. It's about whether our front office actually moves with urgency when a bargain like this shows up. We've seen it before. We get linked to a player, everybody gets excited, and then a division rival or a Western Conference powerhouse swoops in and signs him while we're still exploring interest. I don't want to sit here in August wondering what could have been with our front court depth. If you agree that the Knicks front office needs to stop window shopping and start closing deals, hit that like button and drop a comment saying close the deal. So I know this frustration isn't just me. Look, I get that this isn't a superstar signing. This isn't going to be the headline of the summer. But championship rosters aren't built with 10 superstar moves. They're built with 9 smart depth signings and maybe one big splash. Nick Richards at the minimum is exactly the type of unsexy, sensible move that puts you over the top in May and June when your starters are gassed, and your bench needs somebody who can just go grab a rebound and protect the paint for 6 minutes without falling apart. This is a sweat the small stuff league now, and I need our front office to understand that just as much as the Lakers and Heat clearly do. So here's where I land on this. I want the Knicks in this race, and I don't just want us linked. I want us aggressive. I want a phone call today, not next week. I want a real offer on the table before the Lakers figure out who they're cutting to make room, and before Miami works their usual magic. Because if we lose this guy to either of those two teams over a few days of hesitation, that's on us, not on the market. Let me know down in the comments. Do you actually want the Knicks to go after Nick Richards? Or do you think our front court depth is already good enough without him? Smash that like button. If you want this front office to be more aggressive this offseason, drop your prediction in the comments on who ends up signing him. And stick around because the second this free agency situation moves, I'll have the update for you right here. Thanks for watching, and let's go Knicks.